All right, the decorating technique that I'm going to show you guys today is called Sgraffito. Basically, it means to inscribe. So a few materials that you need. You need an underglaze. The darker the color, the better, because we want to contrast the clay. You want a soft paintbrush. These are my favorite paintbrushes to use. We have a few paintbrushes in the classroom. Some work better than others for different things. If you pick a paintbrush like this, you're going to get a lot of streaks. This one will give you the least amount of streaks, and it'll give you the best coverage with the least amount of coat. So pick this brush, make sure that it's wet and clean first of glaze that might have been left behind from the last person who used it. You need a little bit of water, and that's about it for this. So before even opening your underglaze, you want to make sure that you shake it. You can work right from the bottle. You don't need to put it into a palette or anything. The bottle works just fine. And you're just gonna simply put 2 coats of black underglaze, or whatever color underglaze you choose, contrasting underglaze, on your clay piece. You can put it on, you should definitely put it on the front. You can also put it on the back. You can put it anywhere that does not touch the actual kiln shelf, or won't, it's not what it sets on. When you Sgraffito, you can choose to do the whole plate. You could choose to do just an area and then do something different in a different area. For this, I'm just going to paint the whole thing. You want a nice, relatively even coat of underglaze, and then before you put on the next coat, you want to wait till it completely dries. It won't look wet anymore. The first coat usually takes a little bit longer than the second coat because we're working on wet clay. So be patient, let it dry. You can put it on the fan table if you want to use the fan to accelerate the process. Don't use the hairdryer. The hairdryer doesn't work so well. Heat doesn't work so well for this. It's more about just cool air. Once your plate is dried, you are ready to start carving. If it dries within the same period, you can certainly try to start carving. If it doesn't, it is important that your piece gets wrapped back up in plastic until you are completely done with the project. If you leave it wrapped out of plastic and you try and come in and carve the next day, it will be completely dried out and I won't let you because it creates dust, and dust is bad for us to breathe. So keep it wrapped in plastic until you are done. There is a right temperature to carve at, and sometimes your clay can be too soft and sometimes your clay can be too dry. So too soft we can work with, too dry we can't really work with that. All right, the only supplies that you're gonna need for this portion of the project is a stiff bristled brush. It should be dry. You do not want a wet brush. I keep a bucket of these on the cart so that they're not left by the sink, so that nobody uses them to brush or to paint with, sorry. The second tool that you're gonna need is a Sgraffito tool. It's a stylus tool. It has a little tiny ball on the end of it. One side is smaller and one side's a little larger so that you can make a thinner line or a thicker line. In the classroom, these have purple tape around them and they are in a separate container as well on the cart. So what I like to do before I start carving the front is I just like to test by flipping over and carving into the back. If the clay is too soft, what will happen is when I carve, I'll feel like I'm carving really deep, and also when I try and brush it away, the clay will be really sticky and it will want to stay as opposed to just brush away. I think that this is going to be too wet, so let's see. So I'm just carving my name, and I'm going to try and brush away all the crumbs. And they do not brush away so easy. So I'm gonna actually let it set up a little bit. All right, so my piece has had some time to set up. Now I'm gonna start to Sgraffito. I'm gonna test to see if we're ready to go. think about my design and where I want to start it. All right, so I can swipe away the crumbs. I'm good to go. So I'm just gonna work on my design.